The Eagles come off the bye week and district play awaits. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Holliday Eagle Football Show right here on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media, as the Eagles come off that bye week refreshed, a little bit healthier, and ready to tackle 6-3A Division II play. It's going to be a fun district this year. We've talked a little bit about that with Coach, and we'll, of course, be talking about the district, the rest of the way. But with Jacksboro, with Holliday, with Wichita Falls, City View, just those three teams right there, but then a Henrietta, who I think's much improved, and then a Millsap team who Holliday's playing this week, a very scrappy team. Jacob Johnson does a great job as building a Millsap program team that had struggled, just to make the playoffs. And then now they at least have the expectations of the playoffs almost every year under him. And so I think 6-3A Division II is going to be a fun district. And as always, we'll be talking to Coach Kyle Atwood about the week that is and the week that will be. This week will be a little bit shorter show because we had the bye week last week, and we're not going to really redo the bye, so we just kind of jump right into district play or district talk, and we talk a little bit about the Millsap game, and then, of course, we talk about the district itself. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, it's the head coach of the Holliday Eagles, Coach Kyle Atwood, right here on the Holliday Eagle Football Show on S2S Sports. Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie, and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe. Terry Bennett back here on the Holliday Football Show, now joined by the Eagles head coach, Kyle Atwood. And, Coach, you come off the bye week, you go right into district play. Let me ask you this. At 3-2, do you feel that this year's Holliday Eagles team has started to find its identity yet?
Yeah, I think we really played pretty well in our non-district. As far as like finding our identity, we've played pretty decent in our two scrimmages. Mm-hmm. So you look at the two losses. We lost to Fort Worth Benbrook, who was 5-0. I didn't check this last week. I don't know if they're 6-0 or they may have been on a bye this last week as well. And we lost that game by 4 points and lose a 2-point game to Jim Ned, who's always a powerhouse in 3A Division I. So, we played some tight games against some really, really good competition there in those two losses. So, obviously each and every week that you take the field, you got to continue to get better. And I think we found some weaknesses in playing some of those opponents over the last 5 weeks. And I feel like we've continued to get better at the things that we weren't as good as. But, the whole goal is to be firing on all cylinders whenever you get to that second phase of your season, which is district play, and hopefully play well enough to earn a right to play in the playoffs.
All right, well, let's go ahead and start talking 6-3 Division II play. Before we get into your opponent, just overall, what are your thoughts about this district coming into district play?
I think once you look at it through week 5, it's a really tough district. There's 3 teams, and us, Jacksboro, and Wichita Falls City View that have all at some point in time throughout this year been ranked in the top 10 on Dave Campbell's, the top 10 in the state. Henrietta is always good year in and year out, so they're a solid team. Millsap's going through, some growing pains in regards to they graduated a good senior class. They've been a solid football team the last few years, and they've got some really good kids coming in those lower levels. They've got a freshman class that has never lost a game. We've got some really good football teams in our district. Valley View's, playing well, better than they did last year. They're continuing to improve. Coach Smart does a phenomenal job with his program, so we know that they're going to be ready. So, it's just a tough district that I think that, each and every team has an opportunity to win every Friday night, and you just got to be on top of your A game.
And this first week's schedule, you're getting, City View versus Jacksboro, 2 of the top teams. And you bring up City View. They're one of those teams that they're ranked, but it doesn't feel like people talk about the Mustangs enough.
Yeah, they're a extremely athletic and fast football team. And they have been that for a number of years. So same thing last year, they were capable of doing some really great things, and they did. They played well at times, and then sometimes they didn't play quite as good as they probably wanted to. But This is a class that has been extremely successful throughout their years at City View. It's one that I think that they've been looking forward to having. And so they're having some really good success. Tough loss against Windthorst early on in the season. And then since that point, they've really put it on some people. Iowa Park, they put it on Vernon, even Childress, beating Childress by 16, which is a solid 3A team as well. So they've played really well these last 3 weeks going into the bye. And so they're a good football team that's capable of playing with the best of them.
All right, let's talk about the Bulldogs of Millsap. That's your first district opponent. Coach Jacob Johnson over there, he's really gotten that program to where playoffs are an actual expectation, which is not something Millsap always had. But as you said, this class they lost a lot of great players, including Trip Moore from last year. When you look at the film, what are your thoughts on the Bulldogs?
Yeah, they're extremely athletic in the receiver position. They do a good job, and you can tell that they spend the time, they're extremely well coached. They spend the time in the off season and in the summer throwing and catching. So, they run great routes. The quarterback does a good job of delivering the ball. They got some great skill players. So they're definitely capable of hurting you if you're not, in the zone that you're supposed to be, or covering the guy you're supposed to be, or filling the gap that you're supposed to be. So, we're going to have to play well defensively, communicate, line up correctly. Run the call that's made, and then execute our defensive game plan.
And for you, coming off the bye week, we talked a little bit last week. Y'all are really banged up, and you really are kind of in a next man up mode right now.
Yeah, we are. We feel like our kids have really accepted that, the fact that it may be your turn, and when it's your turn, you better be ready to go. And so, practices have been really good over the course of that bye week. And then this week going into district play of everybody getting reps at their position to ensure that they're ready for a Friday night football game. And our kids have practiced extremely hard, and we've done a good job of, when someone's gone down, throwing someone else in there, and there hadn't been too big of a drop off. So that's what you want. The game of football's about the 11 guys that are on the field. It can't be won by one man. And so we work together as a unit, and whichever 11 are on the field, our expectation is that those guys do their job and take care of their role and their responsibility, and the rest takes care of itself.
Do you have a kid that plays sports? Are you yourself a weekend warrior? Then I'm going to tell you something. Check out NeuroGuardPlus.com. That's NEURO guardplus.com. It's a mouthpiece that can not only help with concussions, but can dramatically affect the way you perform. And the mission of NeuroGuard is to, of course, reduce the risk of suffering a concussion when participating in any contact sport, military, anything that you're doing physical that you could take a blow to the head. You might want to put in a NeuroGuard mouth guard. And as I said, it not only helps eliminate concussions, it helps you perform better by simply aligning your jaw properly. And that sounds like such a simple thing, but it is so important because it allows oxygen to get to your brain. And when you get oxygen to the brain, you don't have that fog of sports or that fog of war where you get confused. And if you've ever played football, that's a sport where that can happen. Especially, man, you're in there in the trenches and you take a shot to the side and all of a sudden things are spinning. This mouth guard will help you keep focus by, again, simply keeping oxygen going to your brain 100%. Again, check them out, NeuroGuardPlus.com. And if you play sports, if you have a kid that plays sport, if you do something physical, one of the things that Dr. Hutchinson, the creator of this, was talking about was some people will use it when they're doing yard work and when they're mowing and things like that, where they're being physically active because they know it helps align their jaw and it keeps oxygen going to the brain, which also helps your lungs, by the way, when you can have full breath every time as you're performing. So again, check them out, NeuroGuardPlus.com.
Hi, I'm Josh Bell with the Miami Marlins. I wear NeuroGuard to help with strength and coordination when I'm in the weight room and help with balance when I'm on the baseball.
As always, we want to thank Coach Kyle Atwood for joining us here. We still need sponsors, so please reach out to me, Terry at S2SSport.com. You can also text me, 469-605-3658. We've got 4 more of the regular season shows, and then, all things going the way they should for Holliday. hopefully we're talking a few weeks, if not the whole playoffs. So please reach out so we can keep this show going. I have a blast talking to Coach Kyle Atwood. I had a blast talking to Coach Johnson. And that's where we started. This is our 4th year of doing this show. And so please reach out so we can get this show sponsored and keep it going, because we want to talk about some of the great games that are going to be coming up. Man, this is going to be a fun district at the top. I don't know how it's going to play out. I think, and we kind of talked about it, I think somehow – even though they're state ranked, people just kind of forget about City View, mainly because, the last few years, what was it, 2020, I think it was, when they went to the region finals. And then since then, they've been solid, but not spectacular. Last year, it felt like maybe they lost a round early, but they again got Gunter because of the draw. And again, that's what we talk about in this region, especially with Gunter being the team that's, everybody's trying to beat. You need to win your district or finish second so you avoid them as long as possible. And so everybody always says that seeding or district championships don't matter. They do, because seeding still matters. And in this region, it's proof of that. So again, we start district play. We'll talk about the results of week 1 next week, right here on the Holiday Football Show on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media.